In 1992, Candyman premieres. The Candyman, a murderous soul with a hook for a hand, is accidentally summoned to reality by a skeptic grad student researching the monster's myth. Directed by Bernard Rose, starring Virginia Madsen, Tony Todd, Xander Berkeley, and Kazi Lemons.
This was a thing. Candyman was like one of the horror guys for a while, you know, Bees, Hook.
He's up there.
I feel like he's got a pimp ass suit other than the bloody stump hook. When I watched it again, it used to freak me out. But this is another one. And Steve, maybe it's Clive Barker because he wrote this. I don't know. I don't
Mhm.
think he directed it, but overt sexuality to this one too. So maybe it's a Clive Barker joint.
And this is possibly one of those examples where now that I'm adult, I'm realizing maybe Candyman wasn't such a bad man because he was a descendant of a slave who was murdered or marrying a white woman and conceiving with a white woman.
They cut the motherfucker's hand off. They covered his ass in bees too.
Covered them in bees.
Come on,
So,
y'all. Fucking hateful motherfuckers. But he gets his revenge, Steve. And then he becomes kind of like a Tinkerbell of Chicago, where you got to believe. And if you don't, he starts getting a little pissy about it. Because basically, we start this movie off, and there's this I don't remember. Her name's Helen, I think. White chick, college student, not even a journalist, Steve. She's doing a research paper
yeah.
about how the Candyman is like sort of used by the community. It's like an urban legend in the black community in Chicago that they use as like a scare tactic, basically. I think that's basically the gist of her paper. But she drags a friend into this, starts interviewing people about Candyman to the point, Steve, she's going to the hood.
Yes, but I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friend.
She's going to project buildings and just walking around lackadaisically like she can't be touched.
Like she's not a white woman, a petite white woman, and she's just possessed by this mystique, this myth of Candyman.
People leave candy like as a respect to him in the projects, but he's just like this myth. You know, if you do something, Candyman's gonna come get you. You go here, Candyman's gonna come get you. He's like the boogeyman of Southside Chicago, basically. And like Steve said, we find out it basically Candyman was a slave that, or like a freed slave that was married a white woman. Was found out he was killed awfully. So he's like haunting Chicago. This woman is on a quest to find him. And I like in this movie also, Steve, like at some point, because I mean, I was high as fuck watching this. She's going through, and you think it's an urban legend. But then she
Yeah.
starts meeting people. They're like, who, Candyman? Shit, he lives over here. Like
Yeah.
the kid she meets, he's like, yeah, he's like right over here.
Yeah. I just saw him at the bodega buying Black and Mild.
Yeah. He's just chilling, man. I'll go. Hold on. Let me go just make a connection real quick. So she gets into the projects. She starts connecting with people, starts finding out all this myth. Her husband is like sort of a wily professor at her college. There's allusions to him fucking students, which we'll get to later. She basically finds Candyman's apartment. I don't know. Takes a bunch of pictures, realizes she's being haunted by Candyman, and then starts being like not possessed, but she has like dreams of him. Where
Yeah.
he's like, Helen, you must come to me, Helen. That's where I'm saying the Clive Barkerness of it. There's a lot of weird like romantic shit going on between Candy. He wants Helen. And I think it's because Helen represents the wife he lost, Steve.
Mm.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's full of twists and turns. It's suspenseful, and I really didn't like the husband. I was waiting for him to meet his maker.
Because basically what happens is Candyman starts talking to Helen in like dreams and stuff, and he's like, well, you're like revealing all this and making my myth less powerful, so blood's got to be spilled. So he'll keep saying that. Helen like blacks out, wakes up, and there's a bunch of blood, there's dead people, so she's being like framed by Candyman for murders. And at one point she's committed. Her husband, the teacher, seems kind of messed up by it. She's put into like a mental institution, gets out, comes back home. Her husband's already hooked up with a tenderoni from college that he's been banging. She's repainting the house, Steve. At the end of this movie, basically what happens is Helen, through all this craziness, one of the killings that she did, there was like a lady who had a baby in this project building. I can't remember her name. And at one of the blackouts, Helen wakes up in this lady's apartment covered in blood. Turns out she's decapitated this woman's dog and, from all accounts, has stolen the woman's baby. So that's when she gets committed into the hospital or whatever. But there's a missing baby in this, like, for the last half of this movie that the Candyman's like sort of holding hostage. So at the end of this movie, this project building's been building up like a bonfire pile of wood and shit to burn for some celebration. Candyman gets Helen in, like, transports her into the middle of this like pile of wood where the baby's being hidden, and everyone in the project sees Helen in there, thinks she's Candyman, sets it ablaze, Steve. So Candyman kills Helen, gets killed in the process, but Helen saves the baby. And by the end of the movie, I think what happens is Helen turns into Candyman, because the I don't know if you watched this, Steve, but the husband
Yeah.
got his.
Yeah, he
He
got
got
his.
his.
Yeah.
And so did
Yeah.
the ditzy chick that he was with, because the shit was on the outs for that anyway.